తర్వాత వచ్చిన ఎస్పీ ఎవరండి అక్కడ?
whoever, doesn't matter.
Okay.
It has happened, it happened. And it is on record, it happened. Very unfortunate.
Sir, after that, first battalion?
Yeah. First battalion was actually, when I became the commandant, that I realized that again in a battalion, for the men in a battalion, the commanding officer or the commandant is like a god.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to take care of their training and their welfare and all, and their demands are very simple, very elementary. Somehow in the battalions over a period of time, because of relatively greater focus on, policing, field policing, and on commando operations, the battalions meant, daily routine operations and their administration had suffered. And I was in 1st Battalion and Mr. Surendra Babu was 8th Battalion, Kondapur.
Yeah.
And both of us worked in together. In fact, we were tasked with, with preparing a project report as to how they improve the administration of battalions and their operational efficiency, and to prepare a roadmap for their growth. So both of us put our heads together and we gave a detailed report to the government. And when we did this study, we found that the number of battalions indeed in the then united Andhra Pradesh were very few compared to most other states. If I recollect correctly, at that point of time, this I am talking of 97, 98, we probably had 12 or 13 battalions only, around 12 battalions we had. Whereas a state like Kerala had 18 battalions, which is not even 1/3 of us. So most other states, UP had more than 60 battalions. Most other states had at least 30 to 40 battalions, where we had only. So we giving the figures of the number of, in terms of area to be covered, in terms of population to be covered, in terms of the problems that we have in Rayalaseema, which will require large-scale deployment of armed police, in terms of the Naxal problem, in terms of the communal problem, we had given a detailed report giving the number of battalions that we have. Good thing is that after the division, it has been implemented to a great extent after the division of the state into Telangana. So now the overall, I think both AP and Telangana combined, we do have, I think, around 30 battalions, which is a decent number. So that was initially, sort of, I would say, our report, Mr. Surendra Babu and my report probably triggered it off. That thinking in the government, that the need for having more battalions, and that has a great impact on routine maintenance of law and order. They, to a great extent, supplement the civil policemen in the police stations, and they relieve them of the routine duties of carrying out the sentry duties, maintaining the posts, etc. So that has worked. Second thing is, we put tremendous focus on training. So training got a lot of emphasis and impetus, and we had a system of rotational training. We improved the fitness of our men. And that was the first time that APSP Raising Day was celebrated. First time we had a raising week, full 1 week we celebrated the raising of the battalions, and that was very prominently featured in the media, and that greatly boosted the morale of the battalions across the state.
Okay. Next promotion, sir, DAG.
Yeah, then actually for a short period I was in Vigilance and Civil Supplies in Visakhapatnam, and I told the then DGP and all that, see, this is not a bad department meant for me. There is so much, it is civil supplies, vigilance cell was rampant, it was badly affected by corruption. So I was there for just about 3-4 months. All my, almost the inspectors got either suspended or got charge memos, and they all collectively tried for my transfer. I was also not very happy there, so then I came out. It was good riddance for them, good riddance for me. So I came back. Then I got my promotion after a few months being in the headquarters, AIG headquarters, for a short period, 3 months there, where I was entrusted with the responsibility of doing the proofreading of the revision of police manual. Mr. Vijay Rama Rao had carried out the revision of AP police manual, and I was asked to do a little bit of proofreading and see if it has been there any mistakes, grammatical or construction of sentences, anything has been left out by chance. So I did that, and then I was posted as DIG, Additional Director in Anti-Corruption Bureau.
Okay.
And I was Additional Director, City and Telangana. Yeah. There used to be 3, one for Rayalaseema, one for Andhra, and one for City and Telangana. Telangana and City and Telangana was the most important Additional Director, and that was a job which I loved a lot. I was there for about 1.5 years. with large number of cases, disproportionate cases. Mr. Prasad Rao was my immediate boss, who was subsequently the DG also. And after that, I went to USA for 2 years.
Okay.
So I gave GRE and TOEFL, and by the grace of God, I got very good marks in GRE. So I got good fellowship from the USA, from that Bush School of Governance, and it was some sort of supplemented by later on by a scheme of the Government of India called Scheme of Partial Funding. So I took my family along, and I was lucky to get a bit of a, in Texas A&M University. That's a land grant university, so they had their own township. So I got a small 2-bedroom furnished apartment also over there as part of, as a very subsidized rate. And in any case, in USA up to class 10, education is free. So both my children were there, so their education was free. That pickup and dropping by is also organized by the school. So we spent 2 years, actually slightly less than 2 years, and I did my master's in public service and administration, focused on things like homeland security, counter-terrorism, intelligence collection, etc. While I was returning, I had applied for another fellowship, what is called Rotary World Peace Fellowship. And
Bush School.
This was in USA in Bush School.
Yeah.
There is another very famous, very internationally known fellowship called Rotary World Peace Fellowship.
Okay.
So they have their tie-up with two major universities in USA. One is the Berkeley University, which is very famous, and second is the Duke University in North Carolina. So, and they have another English speaking in England, one in Australia in Queensland, University of Queensland, Brisbane. I got admission in Berkeley University and in Queensland University. Then I discussed with my wife. She said, US से तो पूरा देख लिया, घूम लिया 2 साल में. तो अभी Berkeley जाएंगे, though it is more prestigious, but then it will be more of the same. So we took the offer to go to Brisbane, to University of Queensland. So then again I came back, and I was in Hyderabad, and I applied for the required permissions from state government and Government of India. I got the permission, and I went there. Important thing is, in both the things, fellowships, I got it on my own. They were not government sponsored programs.
Oh.
Of course, I did go on study leave and tour on duty. So 3 years of this, about 3.5 years period was covered by tour of duty, which is an official thing, and also the study leave. And but then the bulk of the funding was done by those bodies only.
Okay, okay.
So in this Rotary World Peace Fellowship also, it was fully funded by them. The entire education was funded by them, and they were also giving for living expenditure something like 2,100 Australian dollars per month, which was again comfortable. So at that way, it gave me an opportunity to stay in 2 different countries, 2 different parts of the world, Northern Hemisphere and Southern Hemisphere, for almost 3.5 years. And it broadened my horizons, and I got to know this level of education, studies, standards of teaching in these parts, and could get updated with my knowledge. So I left in 2003 July, and finally returned in January 2007. But the most painful part is that when I returned, and I have got specialized knowledge in homeland security, in counter-terrorism, in high-tech methods of intelligence collections, but then the government again posts me to Anti-Corruption Bureau. So all the knowledge which I has gained over 4 years, or roughly 4 years of detailed studies in US and Australia, it's not put to use. So this is the way things function, and I don't want to name the DGP. There is actually a laid down protocol that when an officer comes back from a foreign country, he has to be debriefed. He has to submit a report, and he has to be debriefed by the concerned department, the intelligence department, on different aspects and regarding the utility of the course and all that. So I gave a full-fledged report, but nobody bothered. I don't think so anybody read it. I mentioned to the DGK, I'll give a presentation. Simply, I was...
Again joined to ACP.
So I joined ACP. It was actually a good job. I liked it. But the sad factor is that whatever knowledge which I had gained, the skills, the expertise I acquired, it could have been put to a better use at that point of time. Had it been utilized in the field or branch for which I got all this thing, it did not happen. So then I was in Anti-Corruption Bureau for about 4 years, and I had some excellent bosses in Mr. Girish Kumar and Mr. Arvind Rao.
Yeah.
They were very active, and we did a lot of cases, and that way I would say that very interesting that while we find that there's a lot of corruption in the different departments, but then unlike North Indian states, anti-corruption bureaus in South India, particularly in AP, has tremendous functional autonomy. I know in my state UP or in my state Bihar, even for a 500 trap, the DG has to write to the government. By the time the permission comes, 1 month is over. But here the DG ACB can order anything, except for a proceeding against all India service officers. ACB DGB has all powers, and they were well utilized, and we did large number of cases. The number of DA cases, criminal misconduct cases, traps, surprise checks were all time high, and both Mr. Arvind Rao and Mr. Girish Kumar were extremely supportive. And after that, I was then Mr. Girish Kumar became the DGP, and he actually offered me whether you'd like to go as CP Vishakhapatnam or as IG Rayalaseema. So I said I'll go as IG. Then he was very surprised. He said everybody would like to go as CP, but then my perspective was that CP as CP of Vizag, I'll be doing the same job which I was doing in 93, 94 as SP. There is nothing much to do, nothing more to learn. Whereas IG, I will have 5 district SPs and 2 range DIGs, so it will be a very different type of job. I'll have the opportunity to have an overall perspective of 5 districts, 5 police districts, because Tirupati is a different police district. So I said, sir, if it is possible, I'd like to go as IG Rayalaseema, and then I came.
For more videos, subscribe to iDream.
And loads of fun entertainment and content, do watch iDreams.
Do subscribe iDream Media.
దయచేసి iDreamsకి మీరు సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేయాల్సిందిగా నేను కోరుతున్నాను.
I am Dr. Nayak, DT Nayak. For more videos, please subscribe to iDream.
Please subscribe iDream News.
Please subscribe iDream.
Please subscribe iDreams.
మీరు చూస్తున్నారు iDream న్యూస్.